My name is Caitlin Williams, and today I want to discuss the 2014 Filipino film #Why. Now, before we jump into that, I do just want to put a little disclaimer. Aside from tackling some pretty heavy topics, this video will also feature spoilers for the film #Why, as well as my opinions. I am an amateur film student, so it's about to get real pretentious up in here. If I seem a little off or I'm constantly looking at my computer screen, it's because I went to the emergency room today. And I am really tired, but I don't really take naps, so I'm just kind of, oh my god, taking a minute to relax and sit down and talk about something that I don't enjoy. Now that we've gotten that kind of out of the way, let's talk about #Why. I watched #Why about 6 months ago, and the only reason why I finished it is because I enjoyed the first 4 minutes of the film. I did not enjoy the remaining hour and 56 minutes, because yes, this film needs to be 2 hours for reasons. But yeah, so I want to talk about those first 4 minutes, because I think the problems in that opening sequence are problems that appear throughout the rest of the film. The first issue that I have with this film is that it's too long, and the opening sequence is a perfect example of that. I think 4 minutes is way too long for an opening monologue, because Miles does monologue the entire opening sequence and almost the entire movie. It feels like this movie is an hour and a half of Miles monologuing. You've heard of the expression show don't tell, right? That's an important part of film. You're supposed to show the audience what's happening rather than kind of telling them. And what's unfortunate about this film is that Miles tells us everything as we're seeing it. So not only do they show us, but they also tell us. We don't need both. Just give us the showing part. We don't need Miles to tell us what we're already seeing. I am so sorry. My second major issue with the opening sequence and the film is the underdevelopment of Mark. He is arguably one of the most, if not the most important character in the entire film, because Mark, spoiler alert, who is a recurring character throughout this entire film, is actually the personification of Miles's mental illnesses. And I didn't realize that Mark was just in Miles's head until the last 2 minutes of the movie. And I don't know if that was a choice. I don't know if they wanted us to be unsure of who Mark was throughout the entire film until the end. I wish that they made it more obvious that Mark was in Miles's head. I wish they put him in more situations where other people would have to acknowledge him. They should make it really obvious that no one else can see Mark. That's what I thought. And I feel like they should have brought Mark into play in this opening sequence, because Miles mentions everything in this opening sequence. He monologues everything that happens in the film. Not once does he mention who Mark is to him, how Mark appeared, like why no one else can see him, why no one else acknowledges him. I feel like it's important to set up who Mark is and like how he affects Miles's mental state. My third biggest problem with this film is, aside from introducing Mark, I felt like it was important to introduce Abby. Abby is a recurring character and a very important one at that. She works at a call center for people who want to not alive themselves. Miles calls this center on a couple of different occasions throughout the film, and he ends up kind of becoming attached to Abby, and in turn she ends up becoming attached to him, and they have this kind of back and forth. They never actually meet in person throughout the entire film, and I feel like that was a wasted opportunity. I wish that they like met each other at the end of the film or something, because I did think their dynamic was pretty good. I would have much rather had the two main characters be Miles and Abby and kind of cross-cut between their two stories than have just Miles and then like random 5-minute sections about his friends that don't matter.
Hi, Sophie. You want to be in my video?
All right. Getting back to the story now.
What are you doing?
Don't ask questions.
I hope you enjoyed this video. I know that there were a lot of sensitive topics discussed or brushed over, and I do just want to say that the original film contains these topics and many other sensitive issues. If you do want to check out the original film, it is available for free on I Want TFC. You do need to have an account with them. I have their free plan, and that's how I watched it. There are no English subtitles, but it is in Taglish, so if you're like a Phil-Am who has like a kind of loose knowledge of Tagalog, then you wouldn't have a problem. If you're not, like if you have no knowledge of Tagalog at all, you could still probably keep up with it a little bit, but I think there are certain instances where you would be lost. There were definitely certain instances where I was very lost. But yeah, thank you so much for suffering through this kind of rant discussion moment. You know, check out the film if you'd like. Personally, I think there are plenty of other like good Filipino films out there that you should check out instead. If you want something a little bit more serious like this film, I think 7 Sundays is a good family comedy drama that talks about a lot of like difficult family issues. If you want something nice and lighthearted, I would say You're My Boss is a really good Filipino film. Both of those are on Netflix. And if you want something to watch on I Want that's free, I would just recommend Ang Provinciano, because that show makes me laugh. I don't think it's supposed to, but it does. Thank you so much for suffering through all of this, and I will see you whenever I see you next. So, Coochie, love herself. Dude! Coochie named Miles. Coochie worth the while.
I'm not taking pictures of myself.
This bothers me.
Ugh.
Coochie in the dark. Coochie make the mark.
Set 'em up. Gang, gang.
Can you get it a little?
Okay, I got it closer.
Did you zoom in?
Yeah.
Is the quality really gross?
No, it's good.
I don't trust you. This is good. This is good.
Are you filming already?
Yes. I started filming at the start of your coochie rant.
Oh no! Look at that ass. Waiting for me to be done with the coochie wrap. Okay.
Lighting a candle to burn away the smell of terrible filmmaking.